to shift, it's not an H pattern, all that good stuff. If you have any questions, raise your hand and one of my guys will walk up to you and talk to you about whatever you need to talk about. But first things first, I'm going to run over a few things of what we're going to do today. There's a lead-follow program. You guys are going to go out behind that Mustang. That Mustang is going to do a couple of painfully slow laps to begin with. Like I said, none of you have ever driven these cars. We want to make sure that everybody gets accustomed to how to drive them, how to shift, the response, the throttle response. It's very different from a street car. They're very touchy, they're very finicky. We want you to start off nice and slow, get used to the car before we start building up the speed. That's perfectly normal. We're not punishing you. It's the way we do the program. As the session goes on, the speed starts to increase, and I promise everybody will leave here with a big smile on their face. But you got to bear with us. A couple of things that Steve will be looking for in his rearview mirror is what's going on behind him with all these guys. He's showing you the racing line. That means that if you guys can all stay in a single file line and follow that racing line that he's showing you, you'll all be nice and close together and he'll be able to pick up the speed. If he looks in his mirrors and there's cars doing this and all over the track, you're not learning the racing line, which tells him you're not ready to go fast, okay? So start following single file like a fresh track of snow, okay? Everybody turning in the same place and doing everything at the same time so that it goes, we're able to show you the racing line and it makes it a lot easier to drive later on. That being said, he's also looking for distance. If everybody's doing the right thing, but he looks in his mirrors and cars are miles apart from one another, he's got to slow down to bunch everybody up. When you finally do get comfortable, start looking for that car in front of you, and you're looking for about 3 to 4 car lengths, okay? If you haven't gotten close enough, Eric and I are going to be standing down over here at this corner, and we're going to be telling you to do this. That means you're not close enough to the car in front of you. Get closer. If you've overdone it, which most of you won't, we'll just tell you to spread out a little bit, okay? Watch for us. We're going to be giving you indications from that corner. If for whatever reason we see something on the car or we see something that you're doing that we want to talk to you, we're going to wave a red flag, and Alan showed you where that stop box loop is, right? If we point to you and show you that red flag, we either saw something on the car that we want to look at or we want to mention something to you. So make sure that you pull in so that we can talk to you, okay? And then we'll send you right back out. It's not a punishment. It's just simply the best way, the only way we have to communicate with you. So again, as you start to get comfortable, look for the car in front of you, get nice and close, and that way we can start picking up the speed and building on the session, okay? I think that's pretty much it. Any questions on how we're going to run the program today, guys? Okay, let's look to the left of the steering wheel. You're going to find an on button. Go ahead and press that for me right now. As the computer cycles up, a number 1 should pop up on everybody's dash. Hold up your finger if you got a number 1. Okay, guys, what that means, these cars are in first gear. They do not have a neutral, and they do not have a park. The only way that we prevent these cars from rolling forward is your left leg buried in that clutch. It's the only way that these cars, when you fire them up and when you're sitting stationary here on pit lane, that they don't roll forward and crash into the car behind you. It's a really hot day today. We're going to do things a little different than we normally do. When we finally do go to start them up, I'm going to walk up to you individually, tell you to fire up and head out. Walk to you, fire up and head out, okay? Do not fire up until I get to you, okay? We just want to prevent the cars from sitting here idling on a hot day. To make your life easy today, I'm going to give you a few tips. When we go to fire these cars up, your left leg's going to be buried in the clutch. You're going to open the throttle about 15% with your right foot. Just hold it open. You're going to press and hold that start button. Notice I said press and hold. If you touch and release, it won't fire. Press and hold, listen for it. As soon as it fires up, release the button, but do not release the throttle completely because these cars don't idle. So you're going to always need to have a little bit of throttle input. What I don't want you to do is to pump the accelerator or come off it completely, because the RPMs are just going to drop down and the car's going to die and you're going to have to start all over again. So if you've given it too much throttle, that 15% was too much, just come off of it a little bit, not all the way. If you haven't given it enough, give it a little more. These are race cars. You should be able to hear them. Don't be shy, okay? I don't want you to over rev them, but at the same time, hear your engine so that you can tell that it's running. Does that make sense? Yep. If you can fire these cars up first try and head out, we're going to save a lot of time. When we do finally go to head out, and you've done what I told you to do and you're holding the car at about 1,500 to 2,000 RPM, please trust me. Take that left leg off the clutch very, very, very slow. And you're going to feel that the car's going to just barely start moving. Once it does, you're on the right track. Don't do anything with your right foot. Just keep releasing that clutch, and the car will take off and you can input the throttle. Okay? If you try to do that fancy footwork that you're used to doing with your street car, it's not going to work here today. You're not used to the car. It's a much finickier clutch. It needs to have a little bit of a slow release so that you don't stall on the way out. If you do stall, it's not a big deal. Don't get nervous. Same procedure. Crack the throttle open, press and hold the start button, release it as soon as it starts, and try again. Don't get flustered, okay? Because that's what makes it so that it takes longer for you to take off. If for whatever reason you guys are out on track and you have a spin, what we want you to do is we want you to get going again, meet us back at the stop box. A lot of times these cars will spin in third or fourth gear, and when you go to fire them up, you'll see that number 4, and you'll raise your hand because you don't want to take off because you keep pushing on the shifter and it won't shift down. These cars need to be rolling in order for the shifter to shift. So go ahead and release the clutch and take off like you normally would. It's going to be in 4th gear. Once the car's rolling, you'll be able to select the adequate gear. Does that make sense to everybody? I don't want you to waste time out there, has to stop the session to go get you just because the car's in 3rd or 4th, okay? We want to get you back rolling and back over to us, and we'll regroup you. Am I missing anything, Eric? I think you're good. All right, guys, here's what we're going to do. I'm going to start with this car over here. We're going to go down this line. You're going to clutch in, you're going to crack the throttle open a little bit, and you're going to fire it up.
Got it.
Yep.
Spots all the way.
Uh-huh.
Start, right?
That's right.